Hey everybody, welcome to Rookie Homeschoolers live stream by Jill Wolf. I'm Jill Wolf, teacher, trainer, and expert in the learning experience. I help new and struggling homeschoolers build their teacher toolbox, embrace their teacher hat, and become the kinds of teachers they want to be for their kids. And today's teacher hat is this. Since we're dealing with the topic of socialization, I figure today's going to be about a play date. So I've decided that our play date is we're going to go for a hike. And so I'm taking my kids, excuse the Mexico reference, we vacationed there once. We're going to go for a hike, and so I want to make sure I don't get sunburned and that my face is protected, and I also want to be able to watch the kids, and so I don't want them necessarily to see that I'm watching all the time. But we'll get to that. So the topic tonight and the issue is socialization. And this seems to be an argument that every homeschooling parent that I've talked to hears. Someone says, but is your child going to have any friends if you homeschool? And I don't know about you, but I resist the urge to roll my eyes in their direction when they say this because yeah, but I know you all are hearing this, and for many of you, how do I respond to that? What do I even believe about it myself? So that's what we're going to dig into tonight. I just want to give you a preview that at the very end, I'm going to share with you a free homeschooler roadmap that I have available and where you can go get that. So stay tuned for those details. But for every homeschooling parent out there, you hear this response from somebody about socialization. So let's take a look at this issue and how you can respond. I'm going to address 3 misconceptions about homeschooling, about socialization as a homeschooling problem. Okay, first one is this. The misconception is that school teaches socialization. They don't. They merely provide a place for social skills to be practiced. Parents teach social skills. Parents teach them. In fact, if your preschooler or kindergartner is heading off to school, what do they say? Can they put on shoes? Can they go to the bathroom by themselves? Can they not hit? Can they stand in line? All these social skills, they're expecting you to have taught. You get to 5th grade and your child throws a punch on the playground. Who do they call? They call you. They have you address it. There's a consequence at school, but the parents are expected to address the socialization. So if school is just a place where practice can happen, well, you can offer that. You can offer the opportunity for your child to have interactions with others and practice. And you can actually do it much more effectively. So you can plan play dates. If your child is interested, you may be part of Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, or maybe you have a youth group, or a church functions regularly, or your child's taking horseback riding lessons with a couple other girls, or a surf camp. I mean, all these places are where they're interacting with other individuals. So you as homeschool parent, you just decide, well, how am I going to make sure there's opportunities for practice? And going on a hike with a play date, great way to set up an opportunity for your child to practice some social skills. How do I have conversation? How do I engage in an activity with a person and engage with the person while I'm doing this activity? So one of the things that's interesting is that at school, where everyone thinks socialization is, such a grand something going on there, there's very little monitoring. Now, in the classroom, kids are expected to be quiet and working, or in their small groups and working, but a teacher can't monitor every little group for every second of that day. When they're out on the playground, maybe they have 4 or 5 monitors out there. They can't be monitoring every conversation and every interaction that's going on. You can, when you plan social interaction, social play dates, if your child's in Girl Scouts and you're a part of leading that, you have the opportunity to watch them and observe them. Not because it's a controlling thing, but because when you observe them, you can observe where they're doing well and where they need some coaching. So not only are you in charge of teaching social skills, because you're the parent, But now you have a chance to coach them on them because you can observe them. If it's something that happens at school, all you're doing is hearing hearsay from your child, and it's many times they don't even tell you half the things that go on. So socialization can really be best in a homeschooling setting. Misconception number 2, the play yard is the place to learn how to handle social conflict and to learn to stand up for yourself. Really? The playground where there's bullying and there's interactions that nobody's observing and somehow I'm supposed to help my child with this? It's as reasonable as saying, I'm going to go ahead and throw my child into the deep end of the pool and say, swim to the side. And they do, and we go, yeah, they've learned to swim. I can guarantee they have developed no freestyle technique whatsoever. They've merely paddled their way to survive to the side of the pool. So if we want kids that can handle social situations, can be mature enough to handle conflict, can, instead of throwing insults back or even punches, that they can rise above it, and they can learn how to have compassion for this person and how to respond in a mature way. They need coaching for that and help with that and intervention right away versus on the playground. So let me give you an illustration. My nephew is in junior high, was in junior high, and he had been in a bully situation over and over and over at school, and he had tried his best to be above it, to be mature about it, to tell this young man, look, please leave me alone. Please don't say these things. Please don't do that. Don't push me. And they were at a social function, and this kid just pushed a little too hard. And so my nephew threw a punch right in his face. And so later I asked him, I said, now, you know, you got in trouble for throwing the punch, and you were asked to leave the social function, and your mom's not happy about this. So what did you learn about how to respond to bullying? And he said, I learned that punches work. That kid doesn't bully me anymore. And I thought, okay, so the play yard is not the place to learn how to handle social conflict. It's more how to survive. So what happens at school is not necessarily the best place for socialization. So the mere fact that people are bringing this up is that's the ideal place for it is really, really skewed and off. My third misconception is this, that you owe people an explanation if they ask for it with regard to socialization. You don't owe people an explanation. Now, okay, you need to sit down and have a conversation with your spouse so that he or she is on board, especially if one feels, I'm afraid, you know, he's kind of our son's introverted. Is he ever going to make friends? I want him to be at school. So if there's concern about it with the spouse, then yes, this is something you guys need to talk out. And maybe a sentence or two to a mother-in-law. But to anybody else, here's what I want your response to be. I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to smile, and I want you to point to him and say, already on it. And that's it. And that's it. You don't owe them anything else. I want you to feel confident enough that you are going to have a plan. You have learning goals set up for your child with respect to reading and writing and math. You have goals set up for how we're going to work with your organization skills and focus time and discipline. We're going to have some goals around socialization, and once a month we're going to do a play date, or twice a month we're going to do, and these are the things we're going to work on. And when you make observations, here's your plan. You don't owe that plan to anybody else. That's for you. That's to give you confidence enough to say, I know how to handle socializing my child, and I'm going to make sure that they have the opportunity to practice social skills and how to interact with people maturely. But you don't have to explain that to anybody. You should know it for you. So take the time to think about what are going to be my goals for this? What's going to be my plan for this? How am I going to go about like observing but not too close so I can coach my child? But you don't have to share that with anybody but a spouse so that you guys are on the same page. Other than that, I want you to practice. Already on it. Okay? So here's my call to action for you. Number one, I want you to practice saying, I want you to practice the deep breath, the smile, and the fingers already on it. Okay, I want you to practice that. And I don't want you to feel you need to explain to anybody how you plan to socialize your child. Number two, I want you to make yourself a socialization plan so that you can feel confident about what are you going to do with your child. Well, what do they need? How often do they need it? What is it we're addressing? Some kids are naturally very friendly. They make friends with everybody. So, hey, all they need is the opportunity to play. And for you to observe some of the more subtleties of how they interact, how they share. Are they nice? Do they say, you know, do mean things come out? Are they bossy? That kind of thing. Others might be really shy. So they need some one-on-one kind of play dates to build up the confidence to interact with others. Some might be struggling with some of the considered what's on the spectrum skills, like some things like I need to look somebody in the eye when I talk to them, or I don't take off my shoes and socks and smell them at the table. I mean, those things, some seem obvious, but in some situations, those social skills are things that you realize, oh my goodness, I need to work on that. But I want you to, number two, make your plan. Identify the needs, and then plan out how often a month that you're going to have some kind of planned interaction so that you can teach, observe, and then coach your child afterwards on that socialization, and that you will feel more confident when you have that plan. Okay? Number three, I want you to, in the body of this live stream, I want you to come share with us something in your plan. You're not defending it in this space. You're sharing it. In case there's individuals that are really unsure of what kinds of things that they could do with their kids, we want you to share with each other here. So in the body of this, I want you to come share with the community part of your socialization plan. And then finally, my free homeschooler roadmap. In the body of this, right above the live stream, as I'm posting it, is going to be a web address. I want you to go there and download the free homeschooler roadmap. Some of the things you may have already done, especially if you've been homeschooling for any period of time, some of the things you may have not. And so I want that there for you as a resource today. And part of it, it talks about learning goals, and so you're going to add socialization as a piece of those learning goals. All right, any questions? Okay, I don't see a lot rolling through. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'm going to say, have fun. I'm going to go on my hike. I'll let you know how it goes. And you guys have a great week. I'll see you next Thursday night.